Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Maya, and you are watching Hip Hop Weekly.
Hi, I'm Crystal Ketchum with Hip Hop Weekly, and today I'm sitting down with singer and actress Maya. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. So, you recently dropped your ninth studio album, The Knockout. In comparison to your first album, how has your creative process changed?
In comparison to my very first album, my creative process has definitely changed by being hands on. I do a lot of engineering now when I create. I don't necessarily have to wait on a studio because I have my own.
Okay.
And I also have my own camp. My guy Morris is my executive producer partner. And he also has a band of his own. I have a band in DC. He's a musician. I'm a musician. And I just kind of work with who I want to work with and create when I want to create. So that's the main difference.
That has to be a great thing.
It's like a playground now. Yeah.
Now, thinking back, you started in this game at the young age of 18. So, when you first recorded your studio album, what was a moment that stood out to you or an experience that really stuck out?
When I recorded my first album?
Mm-hmm.
When I recorded my first album, I was working with my label partners and label mates, Drew Hill. They were all in the studio all the time, especially in Atlanta, Georgia, at Silent Sound, Daryl Simmons' studio. That's where we cut a lot of records from the first album, and every member of Drew Hill would play instruments. They're also producers, vocal producers, songwriters, and so I was just surrounded by talent, and that was something that I didn't know about before I met them until I got in the studio with them. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. So going back to the album that's out now, The Knockout, why The Knockout? What does that symbolize?
The Knockout, well, T.K.O. We came up with that title by, number one, creating the track list of a whole bunch of material in my archive. And when I say we, my guy Mars and myself, because we cut like 30-something songs and we had so much different types of songs, so many different types of songs that we had to consolidate. And the vibe that I wanted to release in the early part of 2018 for my 20th anniversary was in the R&B space, mid-tempos, slow jams before we turn up for the summer. And we created the title off of the title track, Knock You Out, which was written by Marsha Ambrosius.
Oh, wow.
And myself, produced by my guy Mars. And that was just the fitting title. But also, this album starts off with a very unsure place before I stepped into a new situation. And by the end, with the middle being the journey and the experience of a relationship and how it develops. And then by the end, I'm completely engulfed and kind of knocked out in a good way by love, because I've allowed myself to trust. And the feeling is amazing. So there's a journey from start to finish on this album as well. And it's also bedroom music for my grown and sexy fans that have requested R&B in the 90s vibes. That bedroom music is also present on this album, not throughout the whole thing, but within the album. So the Knockout stands for that as well.
Now, you mentioned Marsha Amorosa. Who else is on this album? Or who else did you work with when it came to the writing process?
Kevin McCall is on the album as a songwriter. I put him in the video. He's a part of the team. And Gold Link is featured on the album, as well as my guy Mars. So just 2 features. And Gold Link is from my area, so I'm on his current album. And he's on mine. We did a trade-off situation.
What producers did you work with?
Well, this is the very first album where I appointed one executive producer with myself, and that's my guy Mars. So I gave him the keys to this project because that's something that I'd never done before. I worked with too many producers on other albums that there was never an actual sound, though they were still cohesive, but I wanted that one Maya sound, and I got it by consolidating. Now, there are 2 other producers that I worked with on this album out of Atlanta, Georgia in 2011. And so Damage, which is the new single and new video, that was recorded in 2011. And Carlos Los de Maestro McKinney produced that record. There's production from myself and my Mars on it as we just kind of updated a few things later in the process. And then also DJ Hardwork out of Atlanta is on this project. He did If Tomorrow Never Comes, which I also recorded in 2011.
Oh, wow.
Those songs just fit what with the landscape of, I'm going to say that again. Those songs just fit within the landscape of what my guy Mars and myself created for T.K.O. And nothing major had to be done for them to fit. And they went within the storyline too. So just 3 producers really on this album.
Now you mentioned Kevin McCall and Marsha Amoroso when it comes to writing credits. So how much of the writing would you say you actually just did? You're telling your story.
For Knock You Out?
Yes.
Oh, for Knock You Out, Marsha Ambrosius already pre-wrote the song Knock You Out. Now what I did was make it my own by changing lyrics around and making it more, I think, boxing associated or affiliated. That's my favorite sport. Boxing is my favorite sport. And I just wanted to play with the words a little to cater to my favorite sport and apply that to what I meant behind closed doors as well.
So boxing is your favorite sport?
It is.
Oh, wow. Did not know that. So is there any song on the album that you can just pick out that is a direct depiction of what your life is like now, whether it's your love life or just your life general?
Is there one song? Is there? Yeah, honestly, the intro, The Fall, is it's a very vulnerable state, and it speaks about how I often feel as a single woman, knowing that I have been alone for so long and that I have been hurt before, but I'm not going to shy away from the fact that I still want love. I'm still open to love. I still deserve love. And I'm just very cautious on who I give that to. So it's about breaking out of the psyche of being just a strong, independent woman all the time, because we like to hold it together and protect ourselves so much that we become very closed off with the walls built up high and not allow anything in. And I actually have to break those invisible walls down mentally and spiritually from jump on this album. And that's a place that I'm usually in all the time. Wow. To protect everything I've built, from, finances to my sanity. So we don't want to lose anything that's good, but in order to receive something that you're yearning for as a person, as a human, we all need love. We all need affection. You have to be willing to take that risk. But how much are you willing to risk is what The Fall introduces at the very top of the album. It's scary. It's a scary place. Love can really knock you out on your behind, and that's why this album exists.
So did you feel really vulnerable in the time of writing this album? Because you said you experienced heartbreak, so
we all experience hurt, disappointment.
Are you talking about it a lot, or just pinpointing?
On this album is very positive. It comes from a place of yearning and desire, but also caution. So there's nothing negative, nothing focused on heartbreak. Well, that's the next album. But this one is the process of getting to the place of receiving love with that big question of doubt and of fear at the beginning. And so songs like Simple Things basically let the other party know who I am as a woman. Like, don't get me twisted, don't get me confused. Like, I'm not one of them girls that you can just wine and dine with materialistic things and think that that's what defines me and how you need to approach me. That's not it. Like, I don't want the handbags and the red bottoms or anything like that. That's nice. But at the end of the day, are you spending and investing the time and energy and trust and communication, affection, getting to know who I am as a person? Like, forget all that extra stuff. That's nice. I'm not saying no, but don't forget about the human part and the spiritual part. So simple things discusses that. Down discusses, look, are you hit it and quit it? Are you down to ride? Are you down to stay? That's what I need.
A lot of women
That's
can
what I
relate to
want.
this album. Now, you mentioned your next album. So are you already working on that? Is that already in the process?
I'm always recording because I have the freedom to. So yes, the next album and the next album and the next album after that.
So it seems like the concept for the next
in.
album's already done.
Pretty much. I'm a creative person and I have these, episodes in mind and these seasons of my life in mind all the time. So like I said, 2011 was 7 years ago. And some of the material recorded from 2011 is just now making it into the universe because that's how I felt then, but that's also a part of how I feel now.
So when can we expect the next album? What's the content?
Look, now I'm an independent artist and I got to pay for 100% of everything. So when it's financially taken care of, and when it's ready to present to the world, you will receive the next project, God willing. Yeah, but I'm going to take my time. There's no rush.
I'm glad you brought that up. You are an independent artist. Now, what made you decide to take that independent route? And were you surprised to learn anything about this independent route?
Well, a circumstance basically due to an album accidental release that turned into a leak kind of prompted propelling me to go into the independent space, which I really didn't have a clue of what it was at the time. I decided to give it a try versus going to court and suing for my back end money from my advance that was due because technically I had an album in the marketplace. So I just said, maybe I just take a different route and figure out what this independent thing is all about. So I did. And when the album leaked, it was accidentally released in Japan.
Oh, wow.
The fourth album, Liberation. And so I actually got a call from a label in Japan that asked me, did I want to pursue a one territory album release out there? And I was not sure. So I sat on it for a couple of months and I said, let's give it a try. I started working in the studio at home and basically did the album out of my basement. And that was the beginning of my independent journey as Planet 9, meaning my record label. And engineered the project, executive produced the project, funded the project. And what they did, Manhattan Records basically in Japan, supported the singles out there, and they all were very successful, but only in Japan. So my stateside fans were really upset with me at the time because it wasn't available over here, wasn't available in Europe. It wasn't a worldwide release, but that was kind of like elementary school for me. This is grade 1, and this is the process that you're going to have to take, Maya, to learn what is necessary to do what you're going to do later on. And so baby steps. So
what advice would you give an artist looking to go independent?
Going independent is beautiful. It has its share and sets of pros and cons. You have to be very, very smart with your finances because you're paying for everything out of your pocket 100%, but you also see 100% of your money too. At the end of the day, there's nobody cutting into your commissions unless, hey, you have a manager that expects a certain amount, etc. And you have a team to pay as well, but you have control over what's going out, what's coming in, and you see what you're spending on. But my advice would be to live simply below your means, never above your means, so that you can always invest in yourself, whether it be the classes, your package, your recording, or your equipment, or your space, so that you can be an artist, your training grounds, you're an athlete, and that's the mentality you need to have. But where are you going to train? Who's your team? Is it an individual sport, which is why I like boxing so much? And you got to figure it out and how you're going to do this, starting with just you. And be disciplined. Like, do challenges every year that test your self-mastery because you're going to need it. You're going to need to sometimes be your own road manager, your own security, your own travel agent, your own lawyer, until you can get to the financial place that you can pay different people, because that's what it takes. And it's a beautiful journey. Being with a major is beautiful too. You can get lost in the shuffle and have to wait in line and often wait for budgets to open up. But nowadays, there's YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays there's social media. Nowadays you can record an album on your laptop and have it ready, have your package ready, have your graphic design team. Like, go to a high school, go to a college. There are many people that want to be a part of something for their resumes. You can really literally build your team via the internet and find amazing people all
That's
over the
so
world
true.
to work with you. So there are kind of no excuses, and it's kind of a free for all situation. And grow with your team, but also get empowered on the business side, and figure out how you can protect yourself when it is that time. If you do want to sign to a major,
Mm-hmm.
just always operate from the place of like your art. Constantly work on that and let it speak for itself if that's what you want. And if you do want longevity, just make it great. Focus on your greatness, and I think that will take you all over the world in places that you didn't even imagine you could go. Or
I
yeah.
like that. And I also want to ask you, as a staple in R&B music, what is your take on the state of R&B today? How do you feel about it?
Oh, I love R&B. I love R&B today. A lot of people say R&B is dead, but it's not. And we have emerging artists coming out. And I'm glad to see now in 2018 that it's really being supported. I do wish that there were more male groups singing about love and affection, because we females need it and males need it too. I think we need that representation just as a balance.
Mm-hmm.
That it's okay to have feelings. It's okay to feel. It's okay to love and have emotions. It's okay to be hurt. You know, we're missing that balance, I think. But R&B is very much alive. It might not necessarily be on mainstream 24/7, but it's there.
Who are some people you're listening to, or you would like to work with as well?
Luke James.
Oh, he's good.
Miguel. Yeah. India Ari, amazing songwriter and musician, composer, performer, lyricist. Like, she's the truth. I'm a big fan. Um, oh my goodness, Jade Nova. She and I have worked together before, but she's really dope. I'm rooting for her. Incredible artist. And I'm just a fan of everybody. And I love R&B and B and the harmonies and the melodies and the songwriting and the feelings involved.
It seems like it's all about the feelings when it comes to R&B.
Usually, you have to wear your heart on your sleeve, and not be ashamed of it. That's what R&B music is about. It's also about pain.
Last question. If you can describe T.K.O in one word, what would it be and why?
In one word?
Mm-hmm. One word.
If I were to describe T.K.O in one word, it would be balanced. You have the hard production underneath, but you have the soft, feminine, attainable, approachable, vulnerable Maya on top. Yeah. Libra, 2 Libras created that project.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's great. So tell your friends where they can follow you and how can they purchase, or where can they go to purchase the album, or just to stream it.
To everybody out there, thank you so much for riding with me for 20 years. It's been a journey, and the new album is out right now. It's called T.K.O. The Knockout. I'm so proud of this moment, and I'm proud of this project. You can find it everywhere digitally, worldwide, on all digital outlets. And if you want the physical copy, you can buy it exclusively on mayamaya.com/shop. A couple of you guys have mentioned that you want some vinyl. You get to design it. You just tell me which vinyl you want. I'm going with the theme of the album on the color side, red, black, and gold. So I want your input, because vinyl is next. Also, that's going to be on the mayamaya.com shop as well.
Thank you, Maya.
Yeah, thank you for having me.